Princess Catherine publicly shares that she's battling cancer, and instead of compassion, she's met with mockery, denial, and claims that she doctored videos. This wasn't random trolling, it was a coordinated wave of cruelty, and much of it was fueled by members of the Sussex Squad. These are people who brand themselves as advocates for justice and anti bullying while actively dehumanizing a woman during cancer treatment simply because she's seen as a threat to their chosen idol. Meghan Markle. But this behavior isn't just toxic fan culture. It mirrors the exact dynamics of narcissistic abuse, where enablers attack the innocent to protect the illusion. Today's video breaks down how this happens and why Meghan, who I believe is a malignant narcissist, attracts and empowers this kind of blind, hostile loyalty. Because this isn't about defending truth, it's about defending an image no matter who gets hurt. But before we begin, here's the intro. Welcome to Revealing the Narc. Join me as I highlight narcissistic traits in celebrities and public figures. Everything here is in my opinion and not professional advice. If you enjoy the analysis, please like and subscribe. Sometimes things just happen serendipitously. I had a comment on one of my videos, and I generally don't respond to things that I suspect may be coming from Sussex Squad or just have a negative energy behind it. But there was one that I did respond to last week and I thought it was hilarious. I'll show you what that is in a second. But that got me thinking about the Sussex Squad and how I generate all of these clips. I don't know how you can deny that, at the very least, Meghan uses her body to control her husband. And then that got me thinking about narcissistic family dynamics. I've mentioned before, my stepmom is a malignant narcissist, and so often people would witness her bad behavior, I'm going to call it, and generally no one stood up to her, and they continued, I don't want to say idolizing her, but growing their relationships. So this was the comment that someone left. They said, understood that this is just your opinion. You show no face, nothing, while you're attacking someone with a face and someone who had something to lose. Let's see how many people are willing to show their faces while attacking the Sussexes. I'm not a fan of them, but the more I listen, the more I think this is very double standard. Stop attacking and show your face, and let's see how you handle it. And then a minute after that, they posted, maybe no one cares enough about your face. And I responded and said, yeah, maybe my face, I don't think, or yep, doesn't seem my face matters much. So I don't know if you've all noticed, but I've been noticing that a lot of these comments, someone says I'm not a fan of them, and the energy though shows that they potentially are. And in no way was I attacking in no way in my videos am I attacking Meghan. I don't believe that I am. I just go through articles and I try to be as unbiased as can be. I ended up pinning this comment and a lot of people came to my support, so I want to thank you all. But the user ended up deleting the comment. And serendipitously today, right after I was thinking about how the Sussex Squad behaves, this article came out. It's titled Sussex Squad's Sinister Kate Theories. Hate it when they say Kate. Sussex Squad's sinister Catherine theories that left her shocked by violence at most vulnerable moment. With meticulous research, Richard Eden reveals the toxic truth. After completing her chemotherapy treatment, the Princess of Wales admitted last September that it had been an incredibly tough 9 months. Her traumatic year was made even more horrendous by the sustained online mockery and abuse that our future queen suffered at the hands of some of the more fanatical supporters of Prince Harry and his wife Meghan. I came across this toxic phenomenon in the course of researching a new edition of my television program, Reading the Royals, released last night. Typically, Catherine made no public reference to the trolling, although I am told she was well aware of it and shocked by its virulence. Instead, at her Together at Christmas carol service at Westminster Abbey last December, she urged the congregation and the watching TV audience to choose love, not fear, and called for the nation to slow down and reflect on the deeper things that connect us all. The trolling had begun 11 months earlier after Kensington Palace announced in January last year that the princess had been admitted to the London clinic to undergo planned abdominal surgery. The article then goes on to tell us that Catherine would stay at the private hospital for 10 to 14 days, according to the spokesperson, and she'll likely return to public duties after Easter. However, the plea fell on deaf ears among the Sussex Squad, as the Duke and Duchess of Sussex's most devoted fans are known. They demanded to know why Catherine needed so much time to recuperate and accused her, among other things, of being lazy and using her health problems to avoid duties. This abuse then increased because Prince William pulled out of a memorial service at St. George's Chapel for King Constantine of Greece. And then the article says, in an attempt to shut down public concern, Kensington Palace issued a brief update about Catherine's health, saying she continues to be doing well. We later learned that Catherine was diagnosed with cancer in February, with the princess starting a course of preventative chemotherapy later that same month. And this is where the hashtag Where is Kate Middleton started. And a lot of celebrities jumped onto this. The article says, celebrities started jumping on the bandwagon, with the likes of Kim Kardashian posting a picture of herself standing by a luxury car with a caption that read, "On my way to go find Kate." In March, the palace released an unprecedentedly personal and emotional video message from Catherine herself. In the footage, filmed at Windsor, Catherine revealed she had been diagnosed with cancer, with the news coming as a huge shock. However, within minutes of Catherine's announcement, trolls began spreading bizarre posts that her video was AI generated, while others criticized her for not going public sooner. The sickening uploads saw trolls doctor her heartfelt message with the faces of Princess Diana or Meghan Markle to prove how easily a deep fake could be created. But as the trolls went low, Catherine rose higher. The lack of empathy and compassion was really shocking to me. So let's get into the Sussex Squad and their mentality. This isn't new. We've seen how celebrity worship turns hostile when fan groups start treating any criticism as betrayal. And yes, a lot of those fans are probably bots or paid accounts, but there's a percentage who are real people. People who have wrapped up their identity in defending someone like Meghan, to the point that they can't accept the truth, even when it has nothing to do with her. They don't want to hear about Catherine's suffering. They don't want to face the role their group plays in fueling online abuse. They just want to control the narrative. So, what is the mentality behind this? The first is there's black and white thinking, also called splitting. Narcissists often split people into all good or all bad, and their supporters follow suit. The squad idolizes Meghan as the flawless victim and demonizes anyone seen as her opposition. This creates a moral echo chamber. If Catherine is ill, it must be a lie, because admitting vulnerability would humanize the enemy. The second is identification with the narcissist. Many people project their personal wounds onto public figures. Meghan presents as someone misunderstood, attacked, and held back by an elite system, a powerful narrative for fans who feel overlooked, marginalized, or resentful. Supporting Meghan becomes a form of self affirmation. It's like they're saying to themselves, if she's right, then so am I. The third point is narcissistic fleas. Even if followers aren't narcissists themselves, proximity to a narcissist or their narrative can cause people to mirror their tactics. Narcissistic fleas is a metaphorical term used to describe toxic behaviors or defense mechanisms a person picks up after prolonged exposure to a narcissist, even if they themselves are not narcissistic. It comes from the idea that if you lie down with dogs, you get up with fleas. So even if the followers aren't narcissists themselves, proximity to a narcissist or their narrative can cause people to mirror their tactics. Gaslighting, denial of facts, and smear campaigns become normalized within the group, not for truth, but for loyalty. They're also using moral superiority as a defense. Many squad members act as if they're fighting injustice, but it's selective empathy. Catherine's illness doesn't evoke compassion because compassion would disrupt their narrative. Instead, they double down on cruelty to maintain moral clarity. They're essentially saying, we're protecting Meghan. And finally, it's a cult of personality. Meghan curates a highly controlled image. She's trying to show herself as elegant, soft-spoken, victimized, but also ambitious, stylish, and above her critics. It draws in people who crave an idol that reflects the version of themselves they want to be. When reality threatens that image, the squad lashes out. This behavior actually mirrors narcissistic abuse dynamics. Just like in personal relationships, the narcissist recruits enablers and defenders who do the dirty work. These enablers attack the victim's reputation so the narcissist stays untouchable. The squad behaves like a narcissist flying monkeys, essentially, emotionally invested in defending an illusion. And this goes back to the situation with my stepmom. I never understood the blind loyalty that people had with my stepmom when they witnessed her abusing others like myself constantly. Going back to Meghan, she may attract a fan base like the Sussex Squad because her public persona is built to resonate with unresolved emotional needs in others. Going back to Meghan, why does she attract this type of fan base? She may attract the Sussex Squad because her public persona is built to resonate with unresolved emotional needs in others, especially those vulnerable to black and white narratives and identity-based loyalty. The first reason is she mirrors the idealized self. Malignant narcissists are masterful at crafting aspirational personas, polished, persecuted, elegant, misunderstood. Meghan tries to present herself as a victim of unfair treatment, a disruptor of outdated systems, a woman who speaks truth to power. This identity is seductive to followers who feel like underdogs or outsiders themselves. She becomes a proxy for their fight, and defending her becomes personal. She uses strategic victimhood, not to gain empathy, but to gain control. Meghan's narrative always center her as wrong, paints others as cruel or bigoted, and avoids accountability while gaining high moral ground. This dynamic draws in people who crave justice, but instead of true advocacy, they're fighting to defend someone who is never allowed to be wrong. That makes her untouchable in their eyes no matter what she does. And all of this happens while she provides a clear enemy. Narcissists need a villain in order to stay the hero. Meghan's framing of the royal family, the British media, and even Catherine provides an external scapegoat for her fans to direct their rage. And it allows them a reason to feel morally superior without examining their own behavior. This mimics narcissistic abuse dynamics where the abuser's enablers target the real victim. Meghan also creates an identity-based loyalty. Her PR leverages race, feminism, and activism, but selectively. By wrapping herself in these causes, she discourages criticism and encourages identity fusion. And this is something we hear all the time. If you criticize Meghan, you're anti-woman, you're anti-Black, you're anti-progress. This keeps followers loyal out of fear of being seen as traitors to themselves. And finally, she attracts these narcissistic fleas. These people begin to adopt narcissistic behaviors in defense of them. They deny facts, like Catherine's illness. They frame cruelty as justice, and they have moral double standards. These fans act out narcissistic behaviors by proxy, becoming aggressive, obsessive, and fanatical, just like a narcissist flying monkeys. Meghan attracts these people because she provides a narrative where they can feel morally superior, emotionally validated, and socially justified, all without doing the hard work of self-reflection. She becomes their symbol, not just of celebrity, but of righteousness, rebellion, and revenge. I want to close this video out because I feel this topic is so important and is really a reflection of questions that I have about the support system around my stepmom. I wanted to provide a couple of affirmations. The first one is, I am allowed to speak the truth even when others try to silence me. The second one is, cruelty in the name of loyalty is still cruelty, and I will not normalize it. And finally, I trust what I see, not just what I'm told to believe. As you see, this isn't just about Catherine, and it's not just about Meghan. It's about what happens when cruelty gets disguised as compassion, when loyalty turns into a weapon, and when protecting someone's image becomes more important than protecting someone's humanity. We're watching a public case study in narcissistic dynamics scaled up to millions. And the Sussex Squad, they aren't just defending a person, they're defending a fantasy. But the cost is real people silenced, mocked, and dehumanized. I'm going to leave you with this question. When did defending someone online start requiring you to lose your empathy? Let me know in the comments if you've experienced this, and I'm reflecting on it as well. If this was interesting to you, please like and subscribe. Hit that notification bell so you'll know every time I drop a new video. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video and you're looking for a meaningful way to support something beyond the screen, I'd love for you to consider making a donation to the National Domestic Violence Hotline in lieu of super chats and super stickers. They provide 24/7 support and resources for people in unsafe or overwhelming situations, whether that's emotional, physical, or just hard to name. Their information is on the screen should you need to contact them, and you'll find the link to donate in the description of this video. Every little bit helps, and it means a lot. Thank you again for watching, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye, everybody.